More traffic won't fix your law firm marketing. If you've been staring at Google Analytics, watching your visitor count climb every month while your phone stays quiet, I want you to hear this clearly. Most firms don't have a traffic problem. They have a conversion and intent problem. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly why that traffic graph going up doesn't mean cases are coming in, and what you actually need to do to fix it instead. Quick intro if you're new here. My name is Jesse Stewart, and I'm a paralegal and SEO specialist. I work with personal injury firms to help them generate more retained cases through what I call retained client SEO, without leaning on paid ads to do it. If this is the kind of content that is useful to you, I'd appreciate you gently tapping that like button. It helps this channel more than you think. All right, let's get into today's video. So here's where the myth comes from. Somewhere along the way, a lot of firms got told that SEO equals traffic, and traffic equals growth. So the whole strategy becomes rank for more keywords, write more blog posts, get more people onto the website. And on paper, that sounds right. More eyeballs should mean more business. But here's the problem. Not all traffic is the same, and treating every visitor like they're equally valuable is one of the most expensive mistakes a firm can make. Think about the difference between someone searching car accident lawyer near me and someone searching what to do after a car accident. Both of these people land on your site. Both of those count as a visit in your analytics dashboard. But one of them is actively looking to hire an attorney today, and the other one might just be trying to figure out if they need a lawyer at all. If your content strategy is built mostly around the second type of search, you can double your traffic and your phone still won't ring any more than it did before. This is what I call case intent capture, and it's the first place most firms get their SEO backwards. Instead of asking, how do we get more visitors? The real question is, how do we get more of the right visitors? I break search intent into 3 tiers. Tier 1 is high commercial intent. Things like truck accident attorney in your city, or hire a personal injury lawyer. These are people who are ready to talk to someone right now. Tier 2 is commercial education. Searches like, how long does a lawsuit take, or what's my case worth? These are people getting closer to hiring someone, but they haven't committed yet. Tier 3 is pure educational content. It builds trust and authority, but on its own, it almost never turns into a signed case. Here's the diagnostic question I'd ask if I were auditing your site right now. What percentage of your content and your top ranking pages fall into Tier 1 versus Tier 2 and Tier 3 combined? If Tier 1 is a small slice of that pie, you've probably built a site that ranks and gets good visitors, but it doesn't actually generate case volume. That's not a traffic problem. That's an intent problem. And no amount of additional blog content is going to fix it. Now let's say your traffic actually is high intent. Let's say people are landing on your site after searching exactly the kind of terms that signal they want to hire an attorney. That still isn't the finish line, because this is where the second failure point shows up, and it's the one that costs firms the most money without them even realizing it. I call this authority conversion, and the core belief behind it is simple. Ranking is not the same thing as trust. You can be sitting at position 1 on Google for personal injury attorney in your city and still lose that visitor to a competitor because your site didn't give them a reason to pick up the phone with you specifically. Search visibility gets someone to your door. It doesn't get them to walk through it. This shows up in a few specific ways. The first is generic practice area pages. A lot of firms have one page that tries to cover car accidents, truck accidents, slip and falls, and wrongful death all at once, usually written like a long legal essay instead of something built to convert. That page might rank for something broad, but it almost never speaks directly enough to someone's specific situation to make them feel like the firm gets exactly what they're going through. And when someone doesn't feel understood in the first few seconds on your page, they leave and go find a firm that does feel like a fit. The fix here is building a dedicated page for every specific case type you actually handle. a car accident page, a separate truck accident page, a separate page for brain injuries or insurance bad faith, or whatever your firm actually takes on. Each one written around the specific language someone uses when they're searching for the exact situation, with a clear call to action like get my free case evaluation, real local trust signals like reviews and outcomes, and an intake form that doesn't feel like paperwork. The second piece of authority conversion is what happens after someone decides to reach out. This is where things like consultation UX, mobile conversion, and how fast you actually respond to a lead start to matter enormously. I've seen firms lose winnable cases simply because their contact form was clunky on the phone, or because it took 2 days to get a call back from someone after they filled out the form. If you're generating high intent traffic and you're still not converting at a rate you should be, this is almost always where the leak is happening, not in your SEO rankings. Here's the part that most firms skip completely, and honestly, it's the part I think is the biggest differentiator in this whole framework. Most SEO conversations stop at the lead. Someone fills out the form, the phone rings, and as far as SEO strategy is concerned, the job is done. But a lead is not a retained case. There's a gap between someone contacting your firm and someone actually signing on as a client. And that gap is where a lot of firms are quietly losing money every single month. This is what I call retained case optimization. And it means looking at your funnel all the way through to signed cases, not just through inquiries. Ask yourself, out of every 10 leads that come in from your website, how many actually turn into retained cases? If that number is low, the fix usually isn't more SEO. It's things like how your intake teams handle the first call, how quickly you follow up, whether you're pre-qualifying the case type before someone even books a consultation, and whether your messaging throughout your site is setting the right expectations before someone even reaches out. Here's why this matters so much for the bigger picture. If you don't track all the way through to retained cases, you can't actually tell whether your marketing is working. You might see 50 leads a month and think that's a win, when in reality, only 4 of them turned into real cases and the other 46 were people who weren't a fit, weren't ready, or fell through the cracks somewhere in your intake process. When you start measuring costs per retained case instead of cost per lead or cost per visitor, the whole picture of what's actually working changes. So let's bring this all together into something you can actually go check on your own site today. There are 3 questions I'd want you to ask. Number 1, what percentage of my content and pages are targeting high commercial intent versus general education? Number 2, do I have dedicated specific pages for each case type I handle with a clear path to contact me? Number 3, am I tracking my funnel all the way through to retained cases, or am I stopping at leads? If any one of these 3 answers is weak, that's your actual starting point, and it has almost nothing to do with how much traffic your site gets. That's really the whole point of this video. More traffic feels like progress because the number goes up and is easy to point to. But traffic on its own doesn't pay your bills. Retained cases do. And you can have a site that gets thousands of visitors a month and still underperforms as much as a much smaller site that's built around case intent, real conversion, and a tight intake process. If you fix the traffic problem but leave the intent and conversion problems in place, you're just going to get more people looking at a leaky funnel. If you got value out of this, please subscribe. And if you know a personal injury attorney or firm that could actually benefit from this kind of breakdown, please share this channel with them. They'll thank you for it. See you in the next video.